All right, welcome back. The place and priority of buildings to man's existence and survival is very important. Building collapse is a universal problem, and Nigeria is not an exemption. The alarming rate at which buildings collapse these days is a major concern to all stakeholders, building professionals, government clients, end users, and most especially residents. How can this be curbed? Joining us on the show to discuss this is the immediate past national president, the Nigerian Institute of Builders Engineer, Nigeria Institute of Builders Engineer Chooks.
Nigerian Institute of Building.
Okay.
Nigerian
Engineer?
Institute of Building.
Not engineer, builder. Chooks. Or me.
Oh, we didn't get that. Welcome anyway, Chooks.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay. To share your views, you can call 07080666804 or tweet at us at YourViewTVC if you've experienced this. If you want to know solutions to it, he's the right man to ask. Now, Mr. Chooks, welcome once again to the show. What exactly is the cause of this building collapse?
Well, I think building collapse, like other challenges in life, you know, can be attributed to system failure, human failure, and some other factors like attitude, Nigerian attitude, you know. I mean, it's not a one-way thing that you can say this is the reason, but it's a multiplicity of factors that causes building collapse. The major issue, which for us as professionals, we are looking at as the major cause, is the system failure. You know, in Nigeria, we've not been able to put together a system where the process of construction is being checked in a way that there's no loophole. What we have today in Nigeria is that building construction, as it were, is all commerce affair. People just wake up and say, okay, I want to do a house. Before you know, a house is going up. But it should not be so. In a system where life is being valued, where the government takes responsibility for the welfare of the people, there has to be a system in place so that you don't have an accident. Because really, what's an accident?
Okay, now I'm going to ask you, sorry, Jumake, I'm getting to you. Who is to blame for this? Is it the government or is it the man who is? Because the government will not put up the buildings. It is the Nigerian. You said something about Nigerian attitude.
Yes.
What is that Nigerian attitude? Who is to blame?
Yes, let me say that since independence, the process of putting things in place in Nigeria has been very, very slow. Maybe because of the military era and not the political era. Things are more faster during the political era because policies that have to do with people are brought to fore by members of the House of Assemblies and also people in the Senate or National Assembly. But in the past 15 years, a lot has happened in terms of developmental policies because this is exactly the area where government is more concerned. But Nigerian attitude on its own is a different thing. What we have done when I was president of Nigerian Institute of Building was to go on about awareness, you know, so let people know what to do if they intend to put on a structure. Because ignorance on its own is a big problem in this country. I mean, I keep wondering if you are going to put up a house, put into your life savings, all your life you've been working, and you just think that you want to put up a structure, why will you not make effort to know how to start,
So
who to consult, and things like that?
Sorry to interrupt
Yeah.
you. You kept on talking about system.
Yeah.
You are from the Nigerian
Institute of Building.
Institute.
Of
Okay,
Building,
I was
yes.
going to say that your association or institute is supposed to be like a system.
Yes, of course, a system, yes.
So why things happen in other climes is because people know that there are penalties. Human beings will always try, you know, to cut corners. But when you know that there are penalties for doing wrong, now what is your institution doing in association with the government? Because the government is not, like she rightly said, they're not going to be the ones to build the houses. Your institution is there to make sure that's the system. What are you guys doing?
As an institute, our major role is to train people who will undertake this building construction.
So we should be blaming you?
No, listen. What you have done in the last couple of years, everybody in the built environment, and maybe I should just go a bit further, the built environment and the professionals involved in building industry. You have the architect, the engineer, the builder, the quantity surveyor, the town planner, the land surveyor, the estate surveyors. These 7 people are involved in the building procurement. What you have done in the last couple of years was to come together as a body and say, there has to be a national building code. Since 2004, this building code has been National Assembly. What we're asking is just for the government to say, if you do a building collapse, this is the penalty. The way it is now, so today in Nigeria, nobody has been charged to court for doing a building collapse. So it's unfortunate.
But I hear that if your building collapses, the Lagos state government have said they will...
They just take your land, and that is where it stops. There's no prosecution of the person who has contributed to that happening.
I have a question for you. Is your institution backed by any form of legal?
Of course, yes.
Do you have capacity to hold somebody
liable?
Liable, like if you see a construction going on.
We only have capacity to hold our members liable with the.
But if you see a construction going on that is wrong, and you ask for the supervising engineer, and you realize the person supervising is not an engineer, is there anything you can do concerning that? We can't do anything
because there is no law.
Is that covered in your code that you've sent?
The building code is a kind of law, a global law for Nigeria that can stipulate penalties and what to do
in such cases.
In such cases. But the building code has not been passed into law
since 2006.
Okay, so this is where the government comes in.
Once
the law is enacted,
once it's there,
then you can take action.
I can be emboldened to go to a side and say, what is happening here? But the way it is now, you can't even do that.
What can the Nigerian people do to make sure that this code is passed into law?
We have been shouting all over the place. We have been begging National Assembly people. As of reps, we've gone for public sittings several times. We've discussed with them, and nothing is forthcoming.
How about you work with the states, individual states government?
No, the National Building Code is a federal law. What will happen is that if the law is passed at the National Assembly, states will not domesticate it.
They'll rectify it.
Even right now, states are domesticating some of the provisions of the National Building Code. But the penalty, the area that has to do with punitive measures, is the area that we are concerned about. It's not there. So a person does a building collapse today, he moves on to another place.
Because it's exactly the same thing, because he's not punished.
Nothing is
what
happening.
Can we do to prevent, aside from this code, which is obviously punitive, what of preventive measures?
Yes, let me just say that Lagos State government, being a state of excellence, have really tried in this area. What they have done in the past couple of years was to put together some of us professionals to assist them in putting in place laws and policies so that they can manage the system.
Like a guideline?
Like a guideline. No, they have a building control agency in Lagos State now, which is one of that in the whole federation.
So those are the people that
what they do, what they do is to go out there and go to each site and ask this question that you're asking now. What is happening here?
Who is the engineer here?
They have a form they always give out to people at the point of approval, where every professional that's involved in that construction have to start every stage of construction.
Will this, because sometimes it's not just the building, sometimes the electricity, the electrician will just do one kind.
No, but people must take responsibility.
So you have to catch fire.
People must take responsibility. If you're going to put up a structure and everybody is involved, if they are professional, they take responsibility. But the unfortunate thing is that in Nigeria,
we tend to use unprofessionals.
People tend to use people by the roadside. That's the problem.
But sometimes you use professionals and the professionals fail you.
No, if they fail you, you can take them on that. Again, the problem is if the professional fails you, and he comes begging you, you say, okay, let me not go and disturb his career and things like that. But there's always a place you can get.
That's a picture of a broken down building.
If a professional is involved, and you're sure it's a professional, it's registered, you can take him on a professional body, and it can be sanctioned.
Okay, so we have a call. Good morning, Ms. Seze.
Good morning.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks. I'm a first-time caller. Thank God I'm listening with this day.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Yes. I want to talk in respect of the Chibok girls.
Quickly, please.
Why the little girl came to Nigeria to talk about how the girls will be released. Meanwhile, our lady in Sitobi has been campaigning about this, and the government is here to do something about it. In fact, I don't know where we are going in this country. If we cannot recognize our own, why do we recognize those outside? We should learn to recognize our own because she's fighting for a job cause. So that's all I have to say in this program. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now, I'm going to ask you about signs of a building collapse. Most people, when these buildings are going down, they don't really know, although there are cracks and a couple of other things, but they don't really take note of that. So what are things to look out for?
Well, for a building that is collapsing, there are different stages. One, a building can just give in
suddenly.
Suddenly.
Wow.
When it's overloaded. It can just cave in.
Overloaded
How
with what?
is it overloaded?
Overloaded.
Hey.
Again, this is a professional aspect because let's say, for instance, you're doing a two-story building, for instance. After design has been done by the architect, the structural engineer needs to sit down and put in the frames of how this building is going to stand. They then need to get a builder who will translate this to drawing into physical structure. The problem here is that if the design or the structural engineer is not properly done, or it's done by a quack, what that means is that it does something that cannot stand. And a builder gets it. If it's not a properly trained builder, maybe a quack builder, he just go to the site using those drawings to put on the structure.
How about when somebody raises a house that was meant to be a two-story building
And makes
it
it
a three-story
skyscraper?
building?
If it's
or
properly
something?
designed for, it can always stand.
work. Oh, okay.
And if the foundation was done properly,
If you have a bungalow, you want to do it a 10-story building, it's possible.
If
But
the
it was
foundation-
properly done. If you're going to do a design, you must start from the foundation.
Yes, sir.
You start afresh from the foundation.
yeah, but what I wanted to ask is, sometimes when you've built the house, the plumbing will now start leaking.
Yeah.
Can that make the building collapse? The plumbing will start leaking underneath. You might not discover for years.
Where that cannot cause a building collapse, it can cause a defect in the building. Because what happens is that you cannot enjoy the house the way it is.
I've also heard that they said the house will be throwing sand, that you'll be seeing sand dropping from the house. Yorubas, they have a way of saying that the house will be throwing stones at you, then you should know that the house will soon collapse. That was a local saying, but I would like to know that there'll be some signals.
Sometimes if you see cracks in a house, and depends on the gap of that crack, it tells you that because a building is like a human being. If it's under stress, it reacts. And those cracks you see are reactions that something is not right. So once you see a crack in a building, sometimes those cracks can be very, very minimal. There can be a settlement crack because the building settles. Whether it's properly built or not, if you do a building now, it's settled, maybe 2, 3, 4 millimeters.
How will you know when it's not settled?
No, normally it's settled as you are doing it. It will just set to get to a point and stop.
No, I mean, sorry, how will you know if the crack is not a minimal crack?
No, it keeps expanding.
You should be calling an engineer, a structural
keep
engineer.
expanding.
It keeps expanding, yes.
Okay, so finally I'm going to ask you, what are the qualifications of being a member of the Builders Institute?
Yes, that's a good one. For you to be a builder, you need to be a graduate, either university, BSc building, or HND building.
But okay, hold on a second. What about there are people who did not go to school, but they are professionals in what they do?
You can't be a professional now.
If you didn't go to school.
When you say a professional, it denotes
that you have acquired a degree.
A certified, no, not even beyond a degree. If you say it means it denotes a certified level of training.
You can't rule out the fact that people learn from experience too.
I agree with you. You can learn from experience, but you're not a professional. That's the issue. You should work under a professional, because by that kind of person I'm talking about now knows how to do this thing, but you may not know why you are doing it.
So is he qualified to be a member?
It's not qualified, no. He has to do some training, some examinations. If he's prepared, he goes through the cadre, do the examination.
Okay, so what other thing qualifies you as a member?
After your degree, a degree, then you need to do the professional examination.
Okay.
And once you do that, Nigerians to a building, you now have to move ahead to Council of Registered Builders of Nigeria, where you go and do an interview, and your name is listed. And then you can call yourself a builder.
Oh, can I take 2 tweets quickly?
Just 2, please.
Lawal Olaya says, Nigeria is a place where anything goes. I'm not surprised to hear that no one has been charged to call for building collapse. Bob Manuel says, no health and safety inspections are done at organizations or building sites or the instruments used in building.
All right, thank you for that tweet. Thank you very much, Builder Chooks Omife. Yes, I got it this time around. And thank you, ladies, for a wonderful show today. Watch a repeat broadcast of Your View at 11:30 p.m. today. You can also watch previous episodes on YouTube. Go to YouTube/TVC Entertainment and search for Your View. Stop terrorism, say no to insurgency, and yes to a peaceful Nigeria that our children can inherit. Thanks for watching and have a fabulous day ahead. See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.